Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Closers Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Marco Alvarado. And joining me, as always, is Quinn, the Moondog Kalani. Ah, woo, 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 woo. What's up, dude? How are you?
Not bad, not bad. How about yourself?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. We got some pretty interesting topics to talk about today, which I'm excited for. And we also have a pretty cool guest as well. So his name is Jonah Jameson Phillips. He's going to be joining us later on in the episode. But before we get to the first conversation we're going to have between me and Quinn, I must say, please follow us on Instagram at The Closers Podcast. On Facebook, we have a Facebook page. Follow that as well, or like it, I should say. It's at Closers Podcast. And we also have a YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that, like our video, share our videos on there as well. On Instagram, you will find the links to Hang 10, Closing Out the Week, and the Closers Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Pods, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Please subscribe to us on those. So, anyways, I can't even talk, dude. Why does that happen every fucking episode? I can't talk. With that out of the way, Quinn, you have some news to share with the Closers Podcast community, I think.
Well, it's not exactly breaking news, nor is what I say it's news of great import. But I am officially back enslaved. Enslaved under the great wheel, turning and toiling for the UPS store.
The wheel in the sky keeps on turning. Yeah, congratulations, dude.
It is not the UPS store that we came up in. It is a new store.
Oh shit!
New for me. And I mean, it should be exciting. I'm not I'm not taking my talents to South Beach or anything. It's just a job. Keeps me on unemployment.
Yeah.
And holds me over for the time being until I can find a better living situation elsewhere.
I would say that this is kind of like taking your talents to South Beach in a way. I would say that
if you're just simply judging by this asshole presentation I'm giving, oh yeah.
No, I just mean because, if you're the LeBron James saying I'm taking my talents to South Beach, why did he go to South Beach? Because he wanted to go.
He realized he couldn't do it on his own.
He couldn't do it on his own. He needed a squad around him. And I think maybe you could argue the quality of those two squads pertaining to the two establishments. But I would say that you're going to play a bigger role in the livelihood and vitality of this location as opposed to the one we came up in. So
you're saying this is my Miami.
This is your Miami, I feel.
All right. And you're assuming that I'm the LeBron James of the 1040 collective.
Yeah.
I've always viewed myself more of a Kyle Korver. But,
okay, maybe we'll call you a Mike Miller. Maybe when Mike Miller went to Miami, he played a big role. He played a big role in that team.
I'd rather be the Steve Blake of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Or circa
2009.
Nah, dude, you might hate this, but you'd be the Ray Allen. You'd be the Ray Allen. You were the Ray Allen of the store we came up in, and now you're going to Miami.
I don't hate that. I just would prefer not to be called Ray Allen, but Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Okay, all right. That's fine. You're the Jesus Shuttlesworth. Speaking of,
I'll accept that.
What's that movie again? He Got Game? Is that the movie?
He Got Game, yeah.
That's a classic movie.
A Spike Lee joint.
Yes, yeah, The Joint. The dankest joint. That's one of my favorite Spike Lee movies, honestly.
I'd say it's more indica than sativa, but...
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Did you know that movie was, patterned after Stephon Marbury's life? And
that's pretty interesting. Stephon Marbury's a former NBA legend you don't hear much about anymore.
You want to know what happened to him?
And by much, I mean nothing.
You want to know what happened to him? He left the NBA in 2010 after playing 6 years.
Did he go to China?
Yeah, after playing 6 years with the Knicks and like 27 games with the Celtics, he left the NBA and went to China, and he became like the Michael Jordan of China over there.
I mean, why not? Why wouldn't you?
Dude, he killed. I watched a documentary on Stephon Marbury a couple days ago, which is actually giving a little hint on one of my recommendations for the week already. But we could talk about it now. That's fine. I don't care.
Sometimes to be the biggest fish in the pond, you just need to switch ponds. And that's exactly what Stephon Marbury did.
But he also had to deal with a lot of shit in the NBA. Like he had to go to the Knicks, which is one of the worst franchises of like all sports of sports. History. Yeah, it's
sports
terrible.
History.
And he was there during Isaiah Thomas's reign, when he went down as one of the worst GMs in sports history, and like
the Goof Factory.
And he had Stephen A. Smith breathing down his neck his entire career, and like it was just bad. So he redeemed
Stephon Marbury.
So let me tell you something about Stephon Marbury. This guy
Are you done with your soliloquy, Max?
This guy is soft personified. But yeah, Stephon Marbury, I feel like he got a bad rap in the NBA. He didn't get a fair shake after a while. He bounced around, never had a team around him, never had... I mean, he was in Minnesota with Kevin Garnett and pushed his way out. And after that, he didn't really have a supporting cast. He wasn't on a team that really like supported him in any way. So what can you do?
Did he play with Baron Davis at all in Golden State?
No, he didn't play for Golden State. No.
For some reason, I just had like an image of Baron Davis flash in my head.
He played against Baron Davis because he was in the Phoenix. He was with the Phoenix Suns around that time.
There we go.
Yeah. So they played against each other, I believe, but I'm not sure. I'm not that big of a historian in 2000s basketball, honestly. It starts with the Boston Celtics in 2008 with me, admittedly, which I've said on this podcast many times.
I would imagine being a basketball historian is immensely difficult.
Yeah.
Compared to more so other sports, because it's so individualistic. Basketball is. You follow the player more so than the team or the city. Yeah.
I feel
if you're not on, in the bandwagon of that player or that city or that team. If you're completely objective about it, then, like if you're just like a basketball aficionado, then I imagine a lot more difficult tracing the timeline than it is in NFL.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's interesting too. I mean, you have this in every sport, but with basketball, I feel like there's so many storylines that just that fan base knows about within a team, as opposed to like when you're on the inside of a team's like fan base, like so many little nuances to the team and to each player and like where they came from in each storyline individually. And I think with the NBA only allowing 15 players on each team, it's so much easier to keep track of those individual players. And when they come in and come out of your franchise, you still follow them. So like for me, one of my favorite players, he's kind of like, he's not even in the NBA anymore. He plays in Russia, I think. But his name's Jonas Jerebko. He's a Swedish basketball player who played for the Celtics for like 4 years when Isaiah Thomas was there. And like, he would just come in and have like, there was like 5 games this season. He would come in and just light it up, and they called him a Swedish Larry Bird. And he was like one of my favorite dudes because he would just light it up and just like go sit back down and like chill. And it was just so funny to see him come out and just shoot threes like 5 times a year. But he became one of my favorite players. But that's a dude that no one really knows about. Like people know about him, but they don't know like where he came from, that he played for the Pistons before and all that shit. So like, those little things really, I feel like with the NBA, it's easier to track players too. Because, a guy can be great on, let's say, the Rams, and then he goes to, I don't fucking know, the Broncos, and he doesn't even make the squad.
Sucks it up.
Yeah, he just, it's done. It's over. Bye. You don't even know what happened to him. He just gets dropped.
Those are the New York Giant Kurt Warner years.
Yeah.
Speaking of historical historical moments in sports.
Yeah.
The Washington Redskins are changing their name, rightfully so. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
But I'm interested. Have you thought of any name replacements in the interim? I heard one the other day, and I actually entertained it. I thought it was pretty decent, and it allowed them to keep the same color scheme. So, switching it from the Washington Redskins to the Washington Red Tails,
Yeah.
which is a reference to the African American World War II fighter pilot thing.
Yeah.
Which would be, pretty cool. It'd be pretty gnarly. What do you think? Where do you think they should go with this?
I heard about the Red Tails, and I liked it. I like it too because it also has a tie to Native American culture as well. But they should do like what the Warriors have done since like the 70s, where they totally removed any sort of Native American iconography. They don't even touch it anymore, and they just use California iconography. They with their
They use the bridge.
Yeah, they use the bridge in the Bay Area, the Bay Bridge, and they use the what's it called? The numbers, the font is the font that you see on interstate highways here in California.
Yeah.
So instead of, they take the Golden State and they put that above the Warriors themselves. So it's really California pride is what they use for imagery. That's what the Golden State Warriors do. I think that is
the right way to go about it.
That's what the Washington DC Football Club, they should do that too. So.
Do you think the name Warriors is problematic? I've seen on some posts via social media that they group that word Warriors in with other terminology that could be deemed offensive. So do you think it's reasonable to just avoid it altogether? I mean, the University of Hawaii, they're the Rainbow Warriors.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to changing it if it made sense. What do you think?
If enough people are thinking like they should change Warriors, then okay. I wholeheartedly believe in democracy in the sense of if enough people want something changed, then okay, it should be changed. Like, it doesn't matter if, like, tradition at a certain point doesn't matter if the majority of a population or a fan base or a demographic wants something changed, and that's the majority of people, then it should be changed. It's just kind of logic in my opinion. But I know the world doesn't necessarily work that way, but that's how I see it. So if enough people come out and say we want the Warriors to change their name, okay. But I think that the Warriors are going to be one of the last teams to get any sort of controversy thrown their way on a large scale because they've gone out of their way to just not even acknowledge Native American culture and iconography. And that word warrior, it could easily be turned, if they really wanted to tie it to some other culture, they could easily just take a Spartan helmet and put it there. And that's a warrior too. Or you take, there's so many iterations of what a warrior is. You can easily remove any sort of cultural reference from that word. So, I mean, it did stem from Native American, like they were thinking Native American warrior when they named the team, but they definitely have they've removed everything. You don't even know that's where it even came from. If they changed their name, they should change their name to the Tropics because of Semi-Pro with Will Ferrell. That movie.
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
I think they should just go back to the Seals, man.
Well, the Seals were a baseball team.
There's also a hockey team. It could be a basketball team too.
That's true. The Golden State Seals or the San Francisco Seals.
The SF Seals. The Golden State Seals. The GS versus the SF. Sounds better with SF.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I would almost prefer it to be SF since the Warriors no longer play in Oakland.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
So I almost feel.
Yeah.
And honestly, as a Californian, am I comfortable with the league's premier NBA franchise being in the Bay Area? No, but
Why not?
well, I mean, we've talked about this before, but the Bay Area lives in its own bubble.
Yeah.
I mean, you could literally take that strip of coastline or rip it from the state of California, and it could be its own culture and state.
Yeah, there's a specific Bay Area culture that it doesn't necessarily reflect the rest of Northern California. I agree with that.
Yeah, or Southern California.
Yeah.
So I should say I don't have a problem with it. That's too strong. I don't have a problem with it at all. I could really give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
But it would just be cooler if it wasn't the Bay Area.
Yeah.
If that wasn't identifiable. Much how in Los Angeles and San Francisco aren't the two most identifiable California cities. Most people naturally, stereotype and assume people into those two rivers.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, so if the Warriors change their name to the San Francisco Seals, the SF Seals, then would you want the Kings to still say the Sacktown Kings, or would you want them to be like Golden State Kings, or is the Golden State just totally just done? Like
I think it's the fact that they call themselves Golden State, like they self-identify as the entire state.
But they're from the Bay Area, which is such a small subculture of the state.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
That is at the core of the problem.
That makes sense.
Sacramento doesn't represent, the Kings don't represent all of Northern California.
Or even California.
They just represent Sacramento.
It would make more sense, though.
You could say Northern California. You could say the NorCal Valley, for sure. I think most people would agree with you.
Yeah, the NorCal Kings.
Yeah. I mean, maybe even people up in the Eastern Foothills would tend to agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, Golden State Warriors, the Bay Area franchise, representing all of us on a day-to-day basis, plus they're absolute trash.
Well, for this season, they're trash.
You're only as good as your last season. This season, they're absolutely trash.
Yeah, they're trash. But once they get that draft pick and they draft probably James Wiseman, who they're probably going to get the number one pick, they're going to have that number one pick plus Steph, Clay, Draymond.
You think they almost played it like this on purpose?
Oh, dude, of course.
See, that is another problem with basketball, right?
I don't see it as an issue, but okay.
Tanking a league year on purpose to secure a draft pick?
That's what the Miami Dolphins did last season. That's what the fucking Bengals did last season. That's what the Redskins
I mean, there's
did
a difference between 16 games and the amount of games that the NBA plays.
I think it's easier to I think it's more justifiable to tank in basketball than it is in football because of the amount of games that have to be played. Like you're not going to go out there and just half-ass. Like you have to make a distinct decision as an organization in basketball. Like we're tanking or we're not. Whereas in football, sometimes you don't really have a decision to make. Like you just suck. You're just trash. like you have Sam Bradford on your team and you just can't. You're done.
Yeah.
So. Where I'm not. I mean, there's those instances with basketball too. There's just a team that can't get out of its own way. That's just has no talent. That's definitely possible. I'm just saying that it happens more often in football than it does in basketball. I'd say, like if you get a good coach, a really, really, really awesome coach in basketball, and you get a group of guys that really buy into a culture, into a team. Like I said, you only have 15 guys, so it's easier to do that with a smaller team, and they can exceed their expectations a lot easier than a football team would. I would argue, but
I would say you're right at a certain point. At that 8-week mark is when you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Once it becomes clear, once it becomes supremely evidential, some teams are going to advance, and like 2-3 teams, typically they're the Miami Dolphins or the Denver Broncos or the Cleveland Browns. Typically, these 3 teams are just absolute trash. They're not going to exceed more than 4 games. But I think there's a point in the NFL season timeline to which you're right.
Yeah.
And I think it's at that halfway point in the season. Whereas in basketball, there's more or less, and maybe I'm wording it wrong, but there's like, well, let's rest our starters for 2 games this week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's more of a willingness to sacrifice games X, Y, and Z in basketball because of the length of the season.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I can see that. I can see what you're trying to say. But to go back to your original question before we got off track, with the Washington Football Club's new name, Red Tails is strong. I would not mind to see them keep the color scheme, because honestly, that color scheme, I mean, is cool enough. Like that, if you're a franchise, changing the name is one thing, but changing the colors is another thing. So
that is another thing.
I would want them to keep the colors. Why not keep the colors?
The burgundy and yellow, it's not a bad scheme.
Yeah, it's not a bad scheme. I mean, it's classic.
The throwback ones are actually pretty dope.
Yeah, with the gold letters. Yeah. I like that. A name that I was like that I saw was the Vipers, which was just like very XFL. I don't know.
Yeah, and also it's a poor commentary on the political affairs of your city.
Yeah, if you're DC, the DC Vipers.
Yes.
That is funny.
I think.
What do you have any ideas aside from Red Tails?
Well, I think Red Tails is about as perfect as it's gonna get. I thought for a while Bullets was a good one, and then I was like, no, someone somewhere will complain about Bullets.
There's a reason why the DC, why the Wizards were once the Bullets, and they changed to Wizards.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, the Washington, nothing rolls off the tongue followed by Washington. Sentinels?
There's the Roughnecks, but that in itself is kind of weird.
Rico's Roughnecks.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of that.
I don't know. But for anybody listening, if you have any ideas for some good team names, any suggestions for good team names for an NFL football team, then definitely, DM us or talk to us on Instagram about it. We'll be promoting the segment, so you could definitely talk to us there or in the YouTube comments or anywhere. Just contact us, because we'd love to have a conversation about it with you guys. Because we honestly aren't the best namers, I'd say. I mean, this podcast was named. Speaking of names, I don't think we ever talked about how this podcast was named. Maybe we have once before, but we could definitely go into that if you're down, Quinn. Real quick.
Well, it's very American, meaning that it's very self-explanatory.
We got about 10 more minutes. So yeah, I think we can go into that. Would you like to do the honors?
Sure, yeah. It started very plainly. Me and Marco were working at the store 1040, and we were the selected closers for a long time. For like half a year, we consistently closed about 4 or 5 nights out of the week together. And then afterwards, we just started hanging out, and we would just have these fun conversations and these wild trips. Most times at Leatherby's, sometimes at like Mountain Mike's or something. And then
what's that one? Peony
Palace, yeah. And then
the Palace.
And then we just came to the idea, we're like, well, why isn't this a podcast? And instead of sitting down and brainstorming ideas, we it happens after closing. We are the closers. And at the time we were doing it at the store.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure if you're listening and you've been a long time listener, you remember.
Yeah. We weren't allowed to name where we were recording, but a lot of those early episodes were recorded at the back of our UPS store that we were working at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the inception of it. Closers podcast happened after the door closed at work.
Yeah. And that's why we had like so many. That's why we had like some episodes with like 5 people just crowded around one little microphone. And you just hear Erwin off in the distance like, I don't like gang violence.
Oh, yeah, I think bullying is bad. And, I mean, the White House is white because it's white. The Closers Podcast is the Closers Podcast because it takes place after closing time. It takes place right after that.
Man.
So
one way says hello to me. He really the water. Yeah, dude. God, that fucking story. Yeah.
Hall of Fame worthy jam right there.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I disagree with that. But
Barenaked Ladies, one of the all-time Canadian selling bands.
One of the worst Canadian bands of all time. They are a disgrace to that musical country. One of the greatest musical countries in our world, and they just are the doormat.
Wow.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think they're the mantelpiece.
The mantelpiece?
I think they're the mantelpiece of Canadian music.
I definitely disagree.
Nickelback is the doormat.
No.
Look at this photograph.
No, I would say, okay,
if
we're talking about a mantle, dude, Rush has to be up there, dude. If we're talking about mantle, Rush is like, what do you mean? Oh my god.
I like Rush, man. I like Rush, but am I gonna sit here and say I love all of Rush? No. I like some good Rush jams. I like some Rush jams.
Some Rush jams. Well, yeah, they have jams.
But I don't put jam on everything. Just my toast.
Oh my god.
And my Tom Sawyer.
Are you really gonna say?
That's about it.
Yeah, Tom Sawyer, classic. But are you really gonna say that Barenaked Ladies is better than Rush? Is that what you're saying now?
No, I'm not saying
okay,
Barenaked Ladies is better than Rush, but I'm just saying from my perspective. Yeah, actually, I am saying that.
What?
Barenaked
my
Ladies
god!
Is the mantelpiece of Canadian music.
No, and you're wrong. Objectively, that is just disgusting for you to say. I can't believe that you're actually just said that on this podcast.
Well, I mean, it's either him or the dude that came out with the song "Red Red Wine."
That's
red,
such a
red
better
wine
song.
Make me feel so fine.
That song is so much
but that
better
dude
than
has
any Barenaked Ladies song.
That is a classic jam. That is a #1 jam. But Barenaked Ladies, one of the all-time great Canadian bands. Those 4 dudes, if there are 4 of them.
You don't even know.
I know for sure there's 3.
The Barenaked Ladies, dude, I'm pretty sure they only had one good jam. And that one song is that fucking whatever, 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever.
But that jam is a bad penny. It follows you everywhere. And there's a reason for that.
Why? What's the reason?
I don't know, man. It just speaks to something in human nature, something deep in the subconscious.
Yeah, this band, dude.
It's like watching X-Files with no lights on.
We definitely
with Donna Maison. I hope the Smoky Man's in this one.
What?
Like Harrison Ford, I'm getting frantic.
Oh my god, stop.
Those are the lyrics. I know the lyrics.
I'm disappointed in you.
Well, maybe if you took the time to understand and research the lyrics, you would see what poetry
I have
is found between those maple leaves, brother.
Dude.
Those sweet maple leaves.
Sum 41 is such a better band than Barenaked Ladies. They're Canadian too. Arcade Fire.
No.
Arcade
Sum
Fire
41,
is such a better name.
Sum 41.
And such a better band. What?
If Hoobastank is Sierra Miss, Sum 41 is Squirt.
Oh my god. Squirt is better than Sierra Mist.
You can't have one good song on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and expect me to allow you to, at the same level of the Barenaked Ladies.
They did not have one good song. They had like 5. They had a whole great album. Oh my god, you don't even know. You don't even know.
No.
And then
no.
Tegan,
let me ask you this.
Dude, Tegan and Sarah's Canadian too. How can you say
What?
Tegan and Sarah is so much better than fucking.
Honestly, I have no
Barenaked
idea
Ladies.
who that is. Is Alanis Morissette from Canada? Because if Alanis Morissette is from Canada,
Is Alanis Morissette from Canada? I don't know.
okay. Alanis Morissette is from Ottawa, Canada.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so there you go. So Barenaked Ladies has been replaced upon the Canadian mantelpiece and replaced with Alanis Morissette.
No,
I don't think you can argue against Alanis Morissette as the greatest Canadian
I
singer of all
can.
time.
Rush.
Jagged Little Pill.
Rush is a better act than Alanis Morissette. I put Alanis
Oh,
Morissette.
I disagree.
I put Alanis Morissette as number 2, and then I put.
I disagree.
And then under Alanis Morissette, I put Sum 41, and then Arcade Fire, and then Drake, and then just like every other Canadian act, and at the very bottom of that list is the Barenaked Ladies, or
Sixth
just
God.
You
literally put Drake in your top 5. The man
Was
has
he
a
five?
ghostwriter for the entirety of his career,
I thought he was the
and
6.
you have him in top 5.
I thought I had him at 6.
Either or, top 10, regardless. The man has a ghostwriter.
Okay, I'll put him at 7 then. Lights is above
No,
him.
drop him from your top 10.
No.
From your top 15.
He is
a garbage. He is a garbage lyricist.
Oh my god. Okay, I don't care. That's the thing though. I'm just illustrating how much I don't like Barenaked Ladies. So I'm not putting stock into that list. All I'm saying is Rush is number 1, Alanis Morissette 2. And at that point, that list is just whatever you want it to be, whatever you want that list to be. And then at the bottom is Barenaked Ladies. That's all I care about. Drake could be right above Barenaked Ladies on that second to last spot, and that's fine with me. You could put them there if that's what you want. But I got my top 2, and I got my Mr. Irrelevant, and my Mr. Irrelevant is the Barenaked Ladies. That's
so you'll at least put Barenaked Ladies above Drake.
No, Drake is above Barenaked Ladies, right above on the bottom of the list.
If you could have at least conceded that, then I could have met you 2/3 of the way.
No, Drake. I would put Drake. I would rather listen to Drake any day than Barenaked Ladies, and that's just how it is. That's how it be for me. Sorry.
I would rather have Ebola injected into my eyeballs than listen to Drake.
Well, I mean, you're probably gonna have to listen to Drake now that you're working at that place. So
probably
have fun with that.
But it's like imagine if who's a musician with the same success level as Drake in a different genre. Who would you
like today's music, or you mean at any time, at any era?
In any era. What would you say if Billy Joel from Green Day came out and he had a ghostwriter?
I wouldn't.
And all these classic jams that you thought he wrote, you were just like, what?
Well, it's different because we've always known that Drake has had a ghostwriter. That the people that like him even know that. They're just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
And I don't call them hip hop heads. I
wouldn't call them that either.
I wouldn't call them musician enthusiasts.
But what's the point? What's your point?
I don't have a point. And my point is just that Drake sucks.
Okay. That's fine. You can have that opinion. I'm just saying.
I just believe
Barenaked Ladies ain't nothing.
That Troy, Glenn, and David, and the 3 other men who comprise Barenaked Ladies, not named Troy, Glenn, and David, are significantly better. Even rhyme scheme, the actual hip hop element of 1 week is so far exceedingly better, technically, than anything Drake has ever produced.
Technically. No, the Chinese. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Perfect.
You have a drumstick and your brain stops sticking?
No. Goofy garbage song that belongs on like Shrek 2 or some shit. I can't entertain that. You may say the Barenaked Ladies belong in a Pixar film. I'm highly confident Drake has been featured in a Pixar. No, I don't believe he has. Maybe he has. I don't think so.
Oh, Drake has definitely been featured in an animated film. Nicki Minaj was in like Ice Age 4. If she was in Ice Age 4, I guarantee you Drake was
let's
in some
see.
sort of
Let's look that up. Let's look that up. Drake animated film. All right. I don't see anything. I see Timothy Drake, but that's...
You Google it? You Googled it the same way I did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything about Drake being in an animated film. He was in Degrassi. I know that much. He was in Degrassi.
There's nothing cool about that.
I'm not saying that he's cool.
Were you a Degrassi person growing up?
No.
Is it Degrassi? I always thought it was Degrassi.
Whatever. That's just how much I don't care about Degrassi or Degrassi, whatever. I was a Skids UK head for most of my adolescence, so that's the side I fell on.
Oh, check your boy out. I went to his IMDb.
Okay.
Drake, the artist also known as Aubrey Drake Graham, was featured in Ice Age, Continental Drift.
Was he really?
According to his IMDb page.
No way. Shit. Well, okay, then he
provided the voice.
All right. Well, good for him. That's fine. I don't care. Look, I really don't care about Drake. Drake is nothing to me. But Barenaked Ladies, I don't like them. Drake, I just don't care. I just don't care. But with Barenaked Ladies, I actively am like, no, I don't like them. So that's my difference.
Let me ask you this: have you done a deep dive into the Barenaked Ladies discography?
No, and I don't care to.
Or if you just
I want to stay ignorant on them.
Were you just exposed to the toxicity that is, it's been week,
okay,
and then it just soured you completely?
Let me explain why I hate that song and that group, and why it's made me hate that group. Because we, like you said, we closed for damn near like 2 years straight. Almost every shift we had was a closing shift. Almost every day that I worked at that store, I would hear that song. And it wasn't just that I would hear that song. It was, I would hear it at like the worst time, where I'd be working with a customer who is just getting on my last fucking nerve. You know, our boss at the time would come in and start like, he would be in a bad mood, and like everyone else would be in a bad fucking mood. You'd be in a bad mood because like a pest control guy would come in or some shit, and I would just be there. And I'm like,
they would taint the room with their filth.
Today, I would be like, today just couldn't get any fucking worse. And then all of a sudden,
it's been.
And it's just like, fuck.
1 week.
And the amount of times that I just wanted to just run out that fucking door into traffic.
It's a Groundhog Day song. It's a time loop song.
It's a time loop song.
It's the perfect time loop song, to be 100% honest with you. If it was designed for that, then it'd be the greatest song of all time. I don't think it was designed for that purpose.
Yeah, well, I hate that song.
It is an amazing time loop jam. Now, I'd like to issue an official TCP Closers Podcast challenge. Marco Alvarado, you hate the Barenaked Ladies. Yeah. I challenge you to find one song of theirs that you find tolerable.
No, I'm not doing that. I don't care enough to do that. There's so many other bands that I would rather delve into than fucking the Barenaked Ladies. And they're not even the Barenaked Ladies. They're just Barenaked Ladies.
What do you need the for?
Why do you need to listen to their music for? That's my question.
It picks me up.
Well, good for you, Quinn. It
gives me a cheer. I like to when I hear 1 week, it forces me to reflect upon the week that I've had.
Well, you know what I do? I close out the week, all right? I don't have to reflect. I already do that enough every fucking week. I don't want to constantly be reflecting on this week. Jesus. Oh, but anyways, I think it's time to tune in with our boy, Jake Jonah Jameson Phillips. We're going to talk about some cool stuff. So here that is. All right, guys, so here we are with fan favorite, the man himself, Jake Jonah Jameson Phillips. Yay!
Oh, I'm a fan favorite. That's a new one.
An OnlyFans favorite.
oh no. Don't look for my account.
How you been, dude? It's been a minute since you've been on the show.
It's been a while. There's like 3 new shows now on this channel since I've been on it.
Yeah.
I'm doing okay. I'm living. I'm alive during the hellscape that is 2020.
Yeah, dude. It's been an insane time. How has your life been impacted specifically from this time? Obviously, like there's probably a lot of things you haven't been able to do, but like anything in particular that's been like, oh my God.
Just
crazy.
Just haven't been able to eat out as often. But
yeah.
I'm still working. Thankfully, I'm not discrediting saying it's a bad thing. I'm still working. We're busier though, since we're one of the few locations that didn't close.
Ooh.
And then so it's been busy, and I don't get paid as much as some people on unemployment.
That makes sense. Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy? Makes you think. It makes you wonder.
Should I fucking quit?
Should I just quit? But you know one man who doesn't quit, and that's Tobey Maguire.
That's true. And Good segue.
You're welcome. Yeah, we actually have Tobey Maguire, something to talk about regarding Tobey Maguire, and also Tom Holland, because he doesn't quit either. He's the reason why we still have Spider-Man in the MCU. So you're welcome. But what do you mean? It's
You
the
heard me.
truth. But what I'm referring to is the theory that the Sam Raimi Spider-Man and also possibly the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man is going to be tied into the MCU somehow, along with Venom, which we know Venom is going to get tied in. What do you think about those rumors?
I haven't found too much meat on those rumors. As much as I would love a Spider-Verse-esque copy in the live-action Marvel Cinematic Universe, I don't think it's going to happen. Mostly because this originally, the Sam Raimi Doctor Strange,
Yes,
was supposed to be like a horror film, and everyone was like, "Oh," making jokes like, "Oh, Doctor Strange is just going to be Spider-Man 4 with a different name," which that's what I'm personally hoping for.
that'd be crazy.
But it should open up the multiverse aspect.
Yes.
And while I wish they would do the other Spider-Mans, like have Tobey Maguire be Peter A. Parker, and then Tom Holland be B. Parker,
Yeah.
and then add a Miles Morales, which they would need, because how can you not do multiverse without iconic ones like Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Ham?
Spider-Ham. I would just take the Spider-Ham from Enter the Multiverse. Enter the Spider-Verse. Yeah.
Just take because he's supposed to be like a cartoon. And hell, they could even do an Ultimate Spider-Man where he's like more CG or like cell shaded, just because Ultimate's supposed to be more of a cartoony style.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I
would love to see that.
But I'm interested to see how they incorporate Venom, because they forced Venom into the Spider-Man 3, which made the movie suffer a little. Still a masterpiece. I
don't know about masterpiece, but yeah, I mean,
you hold on.
It's still a movie, yes.
How dare you? I want to see how they incorporate it. They'll probably throw a teaser at the end, and then have a Venom 2 be him like trying to hunt down Spider-Man or something.
I see.
Because with the origin of Venom, it's already not the same origin of Venom that wants to like connect to Spider-Man again, like in the comics.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how they make those two clash.
It'd be interesting. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to have them, like, Venom fights Carnage in the new Venom movie, and then Morbius would tie into that somehow, because Morbius is like a scientist, right? So he would like help Venom, or Eddie Brock, I think his name is, find like hunt him down basically, and then he's in New York, and then Spider-Man shows up in New York too, obviously, because doesn't Venom take place in San Francisco? I thought he took place in SF.
Probably.
Yeah.
One thing they could do, they could go an alternate route and have they've done it before, is where Spider-Man's actually Carnage. They could go that way, but usually Carnage is supposed to be like a serial killer.
Yeah.
That just goes ape shit and it tries to kill Venom as well.
Yeah, I know they already casted Carnage as what's his name? God, he was in Zombieland. Let's see. I have his name on the tip of my tongue.
Woody Harrelson?
Woody Harrelson, yeah.
Oh God. Oh no, I didn't know about that.
Really?
I'm upset by that.
Yeah, he's teased at the end of Venom.
Oh God. Oh no. I will be honest, I didn't really see much of that movie. It's one of my favorite heroes / anti-heroes, but I never got a chance to see the movie. It's a big wallop to my Marvel credibility.
Oh dang! I honestly have only seen like the first 20 minutes, and I was like, I cannot get through this, because I never thought that it would get into. I thought it would never get into MCU, so I was like, why would I give this any sort of recognition? But now it's like, okay, I guess it's gonna be in it, so I better watch it again. I know it's on
Woody
HBO,
Harrelson
but
is an interesting choice, though, just because. Why?
The better question is why not?
Why not? I have a couple reasons. One, it's Woody Harrelson. Two, have you seen him?
He would be perfect.
Him?
He's perfect. I think he's perfect for Carnage. I think it's a good casting. He's a good actor.
As much as he looks like a crackhead, he doesn't look too much like a serial killer.
Have you seen here? Let me show you the picture. I'll put it in chat. I'll show you the picture of Woody Harrelson as Carnage, and you're gonna be like, okay, maybe.
I don't know about that one, Chief.
He has a wig on, and it's pretty fucking hilarious. Let me show you. Let me show you this shit. Oh, dude. He looks like Carrot Top. It's so funny. It's so hilarious. Let's see, where is this? My computer. But yeah, I think because once you see this picture, you'll be like, okay, maybe. All right, I just sent it in the chat. But I think you'll be very, very surprised and very, very interested.
Oh, dear Lord. For those of you who can't see, because you can't, this is an audio podcast, it's Woody Harrelson with looks like a woman named Gertrude's hair. And boy, is it not great.
But he looks like a serial killer.
He looks like something. He looks like he's got a Jerry curl.
I love it.
I hope they do it justice.
I hope so too.
Let's just say that.
I hope so too.
Because
Carnage is one of my favorite characters. But
he's supposed to be a really interesting. I personally like Carnage as a character myself, and if they don't do it justice, I'm going to be upset. Just like they didn't do Spider-Man justice with Tom Holland.
Oh, come on. At least it's not. At least it's not Andrew Garfield. Okay, we can agree on that.
That's fair. But it'll never be Toby.
Yeah, you're right. He will never be Toby. He'll be better. But anyways,
nice try, but no.
Anyways, it's gonna be interesting seeing where we go. It's kind of annoying because I know that Comic-Con online is actually next week, so that'll be interesting. We'll see what happens then.
People still dressing up to watch their computer.
I'll wear my Spider-Man onesie that I had to wear for the debate. Shameless plug, if you want to hear me and Jake debate about Spider-Man for 3 hours, Tom Holland versus Tobey Maguire, we have that on our YouTube channel. So just
we went in depth of every Spider-Man movie.
We did
to the T.
Except the Andrew Garfield, we didn't even acknowledge him, much to the chagrin of Carlitos Salamanca, but it's fine. I think it'd be really cool, even if they don't do like a Spider-Man crossover where Tom Holland meets Tobey Maguire. But if they do a thing where in the multiverse, Doctor Strange winds up in New York City, the version where Tobey Maguire is Spider-Man. And so it's like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man having to help out Doctor Strange, either recover Scarlet Witch or help Scarlet Witch or find her or something like that. That'd be cool.
That would be great because one, like they could take advantage of every piece of nostalgia that came from old Marvel movies. They could have a cameo as Iron Man being alive in a different universe.
Yeah.
They could have a cameo as someone being evil. They could have like bits of just random characters that weren't shown in there.
Yeah.
Like they could have the Inhumans, like Black Bolt in there.
Yeah.
They could have the X-Men in there.
Yeah, they could also
Things
have
that should be in.
They could also have the Eric Bana, what's his name? Yeah, the Bana Hulk from 2002. They could have him in there, or an homage or something regarding him.
But they probably want this movie to succeed. But,
yeah.
But they could also get into more like if they were still going to keep it a horror movie, which I feel like they should have. They could have gone into some dark timelines, like the zombie universe, like the one where Thanos kills Thanos because he didn't kill the universe right.
Oh, right.
It could have done huge in like views into horrible universes.
I see.
like the Earth 2 versus Earth 1, where Reed Richards is trying to kill everyone.
Oh, right. Yeah, that'd be a cool way of introducing the Fantastic Four, even if it's for a little part. I am interested.
It would be, but you know one thing for sure, since it's a Sam Raimi movie, Bruce Campbell's going to be.
Oh yeah.
And that I'm looking forward to.
Me too. It'll be funny. Bruce Campbell's the man. He's funny. He's a funny guy. I love his cameos.
The only way I would accept them putting a different Spider-Man in besides Tobey is if Bruce Campbell was the Spider-Man in the like an old, like grizzled Spider-Man.
That'd be super funny. I would love that. I actually agree. That'd be a really good.
I think he's got enough like wisecracking to do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. That'd be really funny to see him, Bruce Campbell. And then if they had like really goofy actors as like him and like the Vulture, or like, so instead of Tom Holland and Michael Keaton, it's like what was his name? You just said Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell
and like Danny DeVito as Vulture or something. Like they just have really goofy.
Danny DeVito is like a small kingpin.
Yeah, yeah.
Just mess with the universes.
That'd be so funny. I would love that. Like if they go that route, where they just go a little goofier, because I know they've tried to keep the MCU like drenched in some realism to keep it tied down. But I think in Phase 4, they're definitely gonna kind of like let it kind of go off the rails a little bit.
Are you sure? Because views of like previews of Black Widow seem pretty like realism stuck.
Yeah,
like it's like a spy movie with Marvel characters instead of a Marvel movie.
You're right.
But that is right. Black Widow's character is a spy.
Mm-hmm. I think they're gonna keep like Hawkeye, Black Widow. They're actually redoing the Punisher. They're rebooting the Punisher into a movie with Jon Bernthal, which is interesting. Ooh. So that'll be cool. But I think those kind of characters, they're going to keep really grounded. But like with the, what are they called? The Eternals and character like the Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom, there's no real way to keep those characters too grounded.
But that's the thing. They don't have to keep it like the thing about Marvel that people love the comics is because it's these alternate worlds that they can't possibly imagine. Like the Silver Surfer is sending a message that someone's going to eat the world.
Yeah.
And the Fantastic Four have to fight that thing. That's something I want to see in Marvel besides like, oh, Vulture is I'm not bagging on the way they did Vulture. Mm-hmm. That's a great way they did Vulture, but mm-hmm. not every villain has to be like a regular dude.
Exactly. There can be, but I think one critique of the MCU that a lot of people have is that they build up certain villains to be like, oh, they're like an eater of worlds, and then they just lose in one movie. It's like, oh, okay, I guess they weren't that great. Like, whereas
I will say they sorry.
Oh no, you're fine.
I will say they did Thanos injustice because the first Avengers, like Infinity War, that was Thanos' movie. He was just kicking the shit out of everything.
Oh yeah.
He was like, oh, you want to stop me? Too bad.
Yeah, that was the Thanos movie, which I really liked. I like Infinity War. Honestly, I can understand why some people like Infinity War better than Endgame. I could see why.
The only reason Endgame wins for me is the like huge fight at the end.
Yeah.
Everything else, it's good, but it's not that good.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that fight at the end, like, one of the most satisfying moments in cinematic history, because it's like a moment that we've been waiting for ever since we were like 10. So
that's what Civil War should have been.
Yeah.
Except for heroes on one side and villains on the other. It should have been heroes on both sides.
Yeah.
And I will say that Civil War is still a great movie. It's one of my favorite like Marvel movies. But that's more because of how much like heart you felt in Tony and Cap.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to feel that between every hero and their respective like friend.
Yeah.
And Civil War should have been a 4-part movie.
I agree. That's such a huge plot line within the comics that for it to be reduced down to one movie was kind of weird looking back. But everyone was just hyped to see Spider-Man for the first time since Andrew Garfield. So I think that's like the moment everyone was kind of waiting for in that movie.
That's fair.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm excited to see where the MCU goes, especially how they're gonna take the X-Men and how they're going to integrate them. Do you have a pick for who you'd want to see as Wolverine?
Well, freaking Hugh Jackman. That's the only person I ever want to see as
What?
Wolverine.
Oh man,
That is a perfect cast.
it is a perfect cast. I agree.
It's one of the few perfect casts that's been like J. Jonah Jameson, Doc Ock,
Wolverine.
freaking Professor X. That was a perfect cast as well.
Yeah.
I will say his reboot still did a great job.
Oh, what's his name?
Professor X.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He was in that M. Night Shyamalan movie. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he did great. And also Michael Fassbender as Magneto, the young Magneto, he was really great in that too. I would say.
He did do that character a lot of justice. But Hugh Jackman's like a perfect cast.
Yeah.
It's hard to like pick someone else after you've grown, especially watching these movies growing up. Imagine anyone else's Wolverine.
It's just difficult because he's even said he's done playing Wolverine. So it's hard to kind of like, I don't know if he'd come back unless it's through the multiverse where they just bring him back for maybe like 1 or 2 movies.
I think he said he would reprise his role if it was with Deadpool.
Oh, okay.
But that was like a quote like of him saying that on like Twitter like 3 years ago.
Oh, okay. We'll see. I mean, that'd be a good way to see him again. Is in Deadpool. I have a feeling,
even if he's not even like fighting, like if he's just like a passing character, like he was in the reboot of the X-Men, where he was just they were trying to recruit him. He's like, fuck off.
Oh yeah. I think it'd be funny to see Deadpool just come in during the Doctor Strange movie, just because the dynamic between those two characters would be so hilarious to watch.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, Deadpool's supposed to be like, they need to add him in.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's gonna change Spider-Man's movies from PG-13 to NC-17, but come on,
yeah, let
Spider-Man have his buddy cop movie with Deadpool.
Oh, dude, it has to happen.
That would be one of the best Spider-Man movies especially if they put Taskmaster in.
Yeah.
But how they like to do villains is they like to kill the villain, even though villains are supposed to return.
Yeah.
So they're probably gonna kill him in Black Widow.
Oh, you think so?
I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. But what this thing likes to do is they like to throw their villains away.
Yeah.
Because Vulture still exists, but you won't see him
for a minute. Yeah. It would be cool to see villains that like pop up in different movies. Like the same villain, but he or she fights Spider-Man and Deadpool in one movie, like you said, Taskmaster, and then the next movie he fights like Thor. He somehow gets shot out into the galaxy and then like turns up as the Thor villain, and like that'd be cool to see.
That's something that the comics do a lot that the movies don't really have that opportunity, because comics you can have different storylines every week, but these movies cost millions of dollars. And I wouldn't mind taking like a quality dip in terms of like the graphics and stuff if we got more expansive stories.
Yeah. I think
like 3 episodic like things instead of like one movie. Like heck, the Punisher on Netflix wasn't great, but it wasn't as great as a Marvel movie, but it was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Daredevil wasn't as great as a Marvel movie, but it was decent.
Oh, dude, the first season, in my opinion, still holds up as one of the best Marvel things ever.
Oh yeah, Luke Cage was interesting. It got a little bit odd in some of the choices,
yes.
but it was still okay. And I won't lie, I didn't watch Iron Fist or the other one.
Oh, Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
I watched Jessica Jones. It was actually not too bad. Iron Fist, I could not finish the first episode. Luke Cage, I got through like episode 3 and I was like, dude, I can't do this. This is ridiculous.
And that's like one thing is that they follow the characters pretty well. They follow what they're supposed to do. It's just they like something with execution they can go through.
Yeah, it just sucks because that idea for the Defenders, and that was like a pretty awesome idea, but in like you said, in execution, it just didn't come to fruition like we all thought. But
and one thing that hurt those characters is that they're all New York themed heroes, while Spider-Man's like New York's hero, and they didn't have any, and they couldn't have any interaction.
Yeah,
like Spider-Man and Luke Cage team up half the time. Spider-Man and Daredevil could team up if they needed.
Exactly.
Just because heroes meet up and split off all the time, especially in like cartoon shows and the comics.
Yeah.
Which that's one thing that animated movies have a lot more power, is they can throw someone in that sounds like a hero that doesn't cost like $5 billion to budget.
I agree. Yeah. They can mix and match characters at will, whereas in like live action movies you have to like schedule every actor, and there's so many logistical intricacies to that whole process.
And you have to find someone that looks like the character and sounds like the character, and can play the character.
Yeah.
While you can just like, that's one thing I'm so excited for Spider-Verse 2, is that you can do an amazing movie and have assets to use with the character and not have it be as detrimental to your budget.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I think it would be really interesting though to see Daredevil in the new Spider-Man movie as his lawyer, since he's accused of being like a murderer by Magneto, and Jonah Jameson is the Alex Jones of the universe apparently now.
Magneto?
Huh? Oh, by Mysterio, my bad. God.
I was like,
yeah, no, not Magneto. Not yet, at least. But
that's one thing I'll give him props for doing. Like, oh, you had the gall to show his identity, but it also killed something they could have done with Spider-Man. That's like an integral part of his character. Having him get a job at the Daily Bugle, working for J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah,
and that's something that for the gall they had to do it, not worth getting rid of that story, not getting rid of that subline.
Yeah, because you're
a
fan.
It's not important to the plot, but it's important to atmosphere,
and it's important to you.
Yes,
as Jake Jonah Jameson, of course.
Can you imagine the first two Tobey Maguire movies with, like, especially Spider-Man 2 without J. Jonah Jameson?
Oh yeah, no, that's not a movie.
It would have suffered huge amount of like loss without him, just because he helps make part of that movie.
Yeah, I agree. That would be a really interesting dynamic to see. Peter, as a photographer taking pictures around the city, stuff like that. That's still a really like pivotal part of the character in a lot of people's minds. I understand that what they're trying to do. They're trying to go in a different direction with the character. I get it, but like you said, I mean, it'd still be nice to see, a little bit of, of that. But who knows? I mean, there's a lot of funny and interesting creative ways that the MCU would be able to allow him to still have that kind of role in future movies. If there's, some sort of, if the whole J. Jonah Jameson Times Square part of the movie was actually an illusion in itself. And so like J. Jonah Jameson doesn't know who Peter Parker even is, and like, or something, I don't know, where he was still in an illusion, even though he thinks that he's not. Like, it's Inception kind of. It could be that.
One thing they could build off of it, but it's still going to be like a detriment to the next movie, is they could do Spider-Man's a menace through J. Jonah Jameson, which is still a good like part of the series, part of the character, part of the universe.
Yeah.
But through the first half of the movie, he's going to be running around trying to like fix it, and we're not going to see any Spider-Man. We're going to see Tom Holland as Peter Parker running around and trying to fix that. And to be fair, as much as Tom Holland does a good job playing Spider-Man, it doesn't sound too interesting to hear him try to do that.
Yeah.
But they might do something completely different. I'm not a director. I have no idea what direction they're going with.
Yeah.
I just hope that they don't Gwen Stacy Zendaya.
Zendaya, yeah.
Because as much as I don't care for her Mary Jane, just because, I don't know, just didn't hit with me.
Uh-huh.
She's a great actress.
Yeah.
And like, she did a great job in the movie. It's just characters aren't hitting for me.
Mm-hmm.
She still deserves to continue that character because she's doing a good job at it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think they should kill her off or anything. I think they should introduce Spider-Gwen at some point, because that would be a really cool character to bring into the MCU.
It would be, but I think they'd probably do that. They'd probably bring in her or Miles when they decide to kill off Tom Holland.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
But they might not kill him off until he would need a reboot anyway.
Yeah, until we're maybe like 35 each of us. Like you and I are like 35 years old. And then he's like, because at this point, like he's like, Tom Holland's around our age, so he's like growing with Spider-Man too, even though he's playing like a fucking what? He's like, well, actually no, he's younger than us, so he's playing like a maybe 17-year-old Spider-Man now, maybe 18, maybe they'll just jump forward in time and he'll be like 18. I think they have to do a time jump. I think they have to do a time jump with Spider-Man. Like it's weird to keep this. Because when he was like 15 in the movie, he was 15 in real life. But then he got older in real life and he stayed the same at the movie age. So he's like, if they keep going at this pace, he's going to be like 25 playing an 18-year-old, and that'll just look weird. Or like it'll be like Tobey Maguire playing a senior in high school when he's like 30. You don't want that.
True. That was kind of funky, and all the like grown adults playing high schoolers. But when they changed it to college, it was seen.
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, this is what people look like in college.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, at least that's what they're supposed to look like instead of what we look like.
I know, yeah, but a bunch of goobers, yeah.
But I think the next movie they should time jump to like early college.
Yeah.
Because Peter is in university half the time. He's in a comic.
Yeah.
And it would just do better for the character.
Yeah. I think high school is kind of overdone with Spider-Man at this point. And the thing is, too, is in the comics, he's only in high school for like a really small portion, correct? He's not even in high school too often as portrayed in the comics, right?
If anything, it's Ultimate Spider-Man that is, and not too much like spectacular or amazing. Because Ultimate's usually a younger Spider-Man or a younger Peter Parker.
I see.
But who knows? They could take it in a new direction. I'm waiting to see what they do because I love Spider-Man as a character, and Far From Home wasn't the greatest Spider-Man movie, like, to be fair, just because it really kind of put mud on one of the core values of Spider-Man. And I expressed this during the debate.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, why should I do this? I'm on vacation.
Oh, yeah.
Great power comes great responsibility, you dingus.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. But I look forward to what they try to do in the future. Hopefully they can kind of turn it around. And at the end of the movie, he sucked it up and fought. Yeah. But let's see if they can keep that kind of attitude going.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a thing of now he is in the upper echelon of Avengers movies, or not Avengers movies, just as a character. He's like an Avenger. He is like the cornerstone of the future. If you had a football team, he's your quarterback of the future. You know, he's going to take you to the promised land. Maybe not now, but he's going to lead the team at some point, and he's primed now. He's a vet, and he's ready. So I think in the next movie he's going to show just that he is Spider-Man. He's not learning anymore. There's no more training wheels. Like, he is Spider-Man. I'm excited to see that.
Remember when they were prepping the new Avengers at the end of one of the movies, and then they just threw that idea out the window?
Of him being an Avenger?
Oh, no, not of him being an Avenger, of them, like, training the next generation of Avengers, and they just threw that out the window when Thanos showed up.
Oh, yeah, they were like, yeah, no, we need to kind of get...
forget that storyline.
Yeah, they're...
New Avengers? Who?
I know, but then at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, Nick Fury shows up again with sword. Not the shield, but sword, remember? He has, like, he's working with the... What are they called? The Skrulls?
Yeah. That's an interesting choice they did as well. Yeah. It's a good flip they did in Captain Marvel. Like, it threw me off guard because the Skrull were the good guys. but it also takes away from a lot of stuff that could happen with the scroll, like, oh, these people using each other's identities and powers against them.
Yeah. They still might go that way. Secret Invasion, a lot of people are thinking that's where they're going with this next iteration. I think what they might be doing is like setting up that, oh, the scrolls are good, they're good, they're good, and then all of a sudden it just flips. It's like Order 66 in Star Wars. And then
But that would just be a rehash of Hydra Shield, which it's just like, oh, Nick Fury's working for this secret organization. Oh, it's bad.
I guess.
And as much as I'd love to see the Skrull fight him, I wouldn't want to see a rehash of as much as I love Captain America Winter Soldier, of that same plot line.
Yeah, that's true. I think another way that they could do it is by introducing the Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom basically like forcing his way to power and becoming the king of the Skrulls or something like that. And then they, like, I don't know, they could write in some sort of like code where if someone becomes a king, like the Skrulls have to follow what he says or something. So they have to, like, I don't know, and then they can become bad.
Some MacGuffin ritual or something.
Yeah, exactly. And then he becomes the overlord of them, and like, yeah, it becomes a whole plot.
We can both agree that they need to do Fantastic Four right.
Yes.
Because
yes.
After the hot pile of garbage that was the second rendition and the not great first rendition, they need to nail it.
Oh, dude. Who's your pick for Reed Richards and Sue Storm and The Thing and all that? Because I have picks.
Oh, that's tough. The guy that played Kingpin and Daredevil, I could see him as The Thing.
What's his name? Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Or Kingpin. They could bring Kingpin.
I would love to see him play King. He killed it as Kingpin.
Oh, yeah, he murdered that role. It was a perfect cast.
Oh, yeah.
Reed Richards, that's a tough one.
I have Jim from The Office, John Krasinski. I love him as Reed Richards. That'd be so cool. But that's just me.
I can't see it.
Really?
Like, I can see how you could, but I don't see it.
Oh, man.
Because, like, as much as he's supposed to be, like... I don't know Reed Richards enough to say if it's a good pick or not. Because I only know the basics about, like, the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Sue Storm, they could put anyone, though, really. Because it's just, like... No, the only two people that are related are Johnny Blaze and Sue Storm. They're not going to recast Chris Evans as Johnny Blaze again.
That'd be cool to see him do like a cameo if they do the multiverse. That they just have him come in as like Johnny Storm. Yeah.
Chris Evans, Johnny Blaze.
That'd be so funny. That'd be hilarious.
I'm trying to think of a good.
I like what's his name? My co-host Quinn Kalani is a very big stan of Zac Efron as the Human Torch, which Zac Efron's a good actor. He's a pretty good actor.
I could see that. He's supposed to be like haughty and egotistical. I could see Zac Efron like nailing a role like that.
Yeah. As
much as I would hate him like having like a High School Musical tie-in to it.
What about John Cena as the Thing?
I think he has too much star power as John Cena for anyone to see him other as John Cena. Like, I think his like thing overshadows the Thing a bit, to where it's like, oh, that's John Cena as the Thing instead of, oh, that's the Thing.
It'd be so funny to see John Cena as the Thing though, because Batista is what's his name from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be funny to see
Drax.
Drax. It'd be funny to see them cross paths and like fight for like a second. It'd be hilarious.
They could dive into some wrestlers being like some villain, like B villains or like B heroes.
Yeah.
Because like another part of New York fighters is like Moon Knight, like a not well-known hero, but he could like have a subplot and like he could just be like an atmosphere type hero. Like he comes in, checks in with the hero to see what's going on, and goes off on his own. You don't see him.
Yeah.
You just know he exists now.
Yeah, you're right. I thought Moon Knight got cast.
Instead of just sprinkling him in at the end.
Yeah. Did Moon Knight get casted? I thought he might have gotten an actor tied to him already. Maybe not.
I thought I thought if he did, they canceled.
Oh, did they?
Because they like to tease with something that you might like and then throw hot garbage at you like Fantastic Four.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think the guy Rami Malek was like rumored to become Moon Knight, but then it never happened. So we'll see what happens.
That's the guy who played Queen, right?
Yeah, he was Freddie Mercury.
Huh.
I mean, if they go that route, that'd be interesting. But
I mean, he doesn't show his face really, anyways. But in Marvel, in the MCU, they show people's faces all the time when they don't really necessarily have to have a face.
Yeah, there's no masks. No masks in the MCU except if you're Iron Man or Spider-Man.
Barely them too. Like, oh, they have a breather.
I know, you got to see the face, the star power. But I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see what happens next week during Comic-Con. I think there's going to be a lot more stuff. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more stuff announced, but I think it's going to be some really cool stuff. Also, really quick, did you hear about the rumor that the Star Wars sequels might get retconned out of existence?
Really?
Yeah, I heard that's
no
a rumor.
Way.
No, it's a rumor. Yeah. It's
no way would they spend that much time trying to make people like them and be like, yeah, just kidding.
No, but what they're thinking of doing is basically adding that to Star Wars Legends, so they're still gonna
put the expanded universe in it.
Yeah, they're just gonna call that, like, basically there's a mirror room apparently on the Death Star 2, the second Death Star in Return of the Jedi, where like Palpatine's able to look into different mirror universes, and this is taking place in one of the mirror universes that he's like peering into. That's it. So they're just like, this isn't like the real. They're basically they're basically doing a multiverse thing too, and to get it out. So I don't know.
When we said space wizards, we meant scientific space wizards. Damn it.
We'll see what happens with that, but I don't know. What do you think about it?
I am looking forward to their announced Bad Batch that's coming out about the clones that like just went off, because that's going to be an interesting storyline. That'll be probably something you'll want to bring Carr on for when that comes out.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
He's already dying to see it.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. I haven't heard anything about Star Wars Bad Batch other than seeing the logo. So what do you know about it so far?
I don't know too much. I will say that the expanded universe is something I wish I knew more about, and like, it's just like a group of clones that didn't come out quite right, but with their own like special like talents, and they're supposed to be like, it's supposed to be a dope storyline. So I would be pumped, and hopefully everyone would be pumped to see it, because it's coming to Disney Plus, because Disney owns everything that you love now. And of course, I'm not going to buy Disney Plus. I'm going to pirate, because I'm a.
There you go. Yeah.
Because I'm not because I'm against capitalism, but because I'm cheap.
What's the difference? But yeah, no, I understand. I really like what Disney Plus is doing with Star Wars. I thought The Mandalorian, as everyone knows on the show, was great. So I'm excited to see what happens. Very much.
I need to finish Mandalorian, because it's from what I've seen, it's such a good story.
Oh, it is. You'd love it. It's a really great story. Also, real quick, I keep saying real quick, but have you seen The Midnight Gospel on Netflix yet?
I've seen one episode. I know it's like a great like thing to put on in the background or just watch it, because the animation, it's not like it's just something happening while the stuff is talking. So if there's any dull moments in the speech, you can just kind of watch that, and it works great.
Yeah.
And I know though, like one of the last episodes is supposed to hit super hard, and I just don't think I'm ready for that with everything going on right now.
Oh, dude, with the last episode of the entire series, or the first season, oh my god. Yeah, you need to be prepared for that. I wasn't. I just put it on. I was like, okay, last episode, cool. And then it hit, and I was like, oh my god, I was not prepared for this.
I didn't think I was gonna
Yeah.
cry.
Yeah, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. Yeah, that was basically me.
Animation
It was
has
hard.
a way of getting to me that I don't know if I'd be ready for that.
Dude, but I know once you see that episode, after you watch the other episodes, you'll be like, yeah, this is great. The first episode, it hooks you in, and then the second and third episodes are like, make you kind of question things, but you're like, you know what, I'm going to keep going. And then once you get to like episode like 6, you're like, oh my God, I love the show so much. Because the story kind of comes together.
I wish it was more normal to watch like animation. People like, I'll tell them I watch cartoons and they'll be like, it's kind of weird. Not
Really?
anyone I'm friends with, but like people in general. Be like, oh, I don't really
Really?
watch cartoons. I watch like more live stuff.
That's weird. Because I know so many people who watch animation. That's like most of my friends watch animation. I'm the one that's weird because I don't.
Well, you need to get on it.
Apparently I do. I mean, I love Midnight Gospel, and I know you've been telling me Steven Universe is something I gotta hop on.
It's a lot of music, a lot of crying, and a lot of gay. For those of you who are a fan of all three.
I mean, I'm a fan of music. I'm a fan of crying, but I'm not gay. But I mean, I support it. I support LGBT rights. So I mean, I'm down for all that.
That show is a pretty decent activate for it. If I said that right.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's got its slow build up, but it does really well in terms of music, especially the movie is a musical, and it's one of my favorite animation movies.
Oh, there's a movie.
Mm-hmm. Happens between the 4th and 5th season.
Interesting. I'll have to check it out.
Watch Steven Universe, everybody. We're talking about Marvel. Yes. We're talking about gay space rocks.
Gay space rocks. Oh yeah, I saw that meme. The rocks are gay.
They turn the freaking rocks gay.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I think we covered everything we were trying to cover. So, is there anything else you want to say before we skedaddle on out of here, Sir Jacob?
Be like Fred Rogers, everyone. Be good people.
There you go. Love it. Love it. We need more good people in today's day and age. So.
And wear your mask.
Thank you. Oh yes, wear your masks. God, people, why do I have to keep telling you? Jesus Christ. But Jacob, thank you again for coming on as always. We'll definitely have you on again soon in the second season.
Anytime.
When there's more to talk about. I know you're busy, guys, so thank you for taking some time for us and for the audience. We definitely appreciate it, and I know that the audience definitely appreciates it too. But yeah, I guess now it is time for us to talk about or give our weekly recommendations. So here that is. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that convo with Jake, Jonah Jameson, Phillips. He'll be on again soon. But now it is time for weekly recommendations. Yay! All right.
Should almost get a drum roll in there, huh?
I know, I should have. Quinithan Kalani, would you like to, as always, go first?
Sure. My first recommendation this week, perhaps, if you're a bit older, maybe a bit controversial. My first recommendation is a book I'm reading called Technological Slavery, Volume 1, the revised and expanded edition, and it is by Theodore John Kaczynski, also known as the Unabomber. And what this contains is his manifesto and various other writings of his. Basically, what the point of the book is it argues that the Industrial Revolution put humanity on a path, an irreversible path, that ultimately leads to self-destruction. And what Ted Krasinski did.
John Krasinski.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jim from The Office is the Unabomber.
What Ted Kaczynski did, or what he believed in, he believed he was, fighting to save humanity. Pretty much, he thought, by sending out these bombs via the mail, that dramatic examples could force people out of apathy and into environmental empathy. It's a really fascinating book. I've said it multiple times on this show that I find Ted Kaczynski to be an incredibly fascinating man, individual, genius level intellect, also the Unabomber. But I would highly recommend that you take a chance and just offer yourself up to see things from someone else's perspective, particularly someone who has a Stephen Hawking level intellect but felt compelled to also become the world's most renowned serial terrorist.
Wow.
What a juxtaposition.
That is very interesting. And you said it's a book?
Yeah, it's a book. I got it right here. Technological Slavery.
Damn.
By Ted
Looks
Kaczynski.
like a Bible.
It's a pretty thick tome, and it is hefty, and it's not light reading. It's not light reading. This man had 148 level IQ.
Yeah.
That's Stephen Hawking, Einstein level.
How long have you been trying to read that, or have you been reading it for?
I've been trying to read it for a couple months, to be honest with you, and I keep having to go back and reread it, or reread passages. I find it to be incredibly complex, but I think it's also incredibly insightful. And there's, ironically enough, there are more than a handful of truths that can be found in this man's sentiment. So I highly encourage it. Technological Slavery.
Very interesting. Thank you, Quinn, for that. Appreciate it. My first recommendation is something I kind of hinted to when we were talking about the NBA and the history of sports. And what I was referring to is a documentary called A Kid from Coney Island, which Quinn is not a fan of the title. But it's about Stephon Marbury and his rise, fall, and redemption in basketball. He, is from Coney Island, and he was redeemed as what?
I just can't get over how terrible that title is. A Kid from Coney Island. Its sequel, A Kid from Fuck All Nowhere. Like,
what? Coney Island is a very well-known place. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, maybe for Joey Bag of Donuts, but
Okay, well, anyways, it's a very great documentary, I feel, and it's definitely is inspiring, at least to me. It shows that you can have everything you want, whereas Stephon Marbury basically had anything that a kid from Coney Island could have asked for, playing for the New York Knicks, the hometown team, having family close, getting paid almost, $20 million a year, everything that a person you would think could want. And he was one of the most unhappiest people in the NBA. Even he admittedly said at the time he was super unhappy. So unhappy that he actually ate Vaseline on camera one time. That did happen. And you see it in the documentary. Very, very cringeworthy stuff. But he went from that cringe-tastic individual.
What was his eating method?
I don't know. He just, he put it on his finger and he just like.
Oh, okay. I was thinking maybe if he did the 2-finger scoop.
No, he's one finger. No, one finger. But he was like breaking down, and he like was having a breakdown on webcam, and he was just like showing himself eating it. I don't know, but it just goes to show you could go from that cringe-tastic type of person, who is, kind of like the butt of the joke in every NBA circle in the mid-2000s. He went from that to the greatest player in Chinese Basketball Association history, winning 3 titles and becoming like revered nationwide in China, becoming like their MJ. Like they have a exhibit in his name. Like they show his story in China. Like they have a museum of Stephon Marbury. So
that's pretty amazing.
They love him. So it goes to show you can always come back. There's always a road, but you're gonna have to go far on that road sometimes to find where you want to be. So I just felt like it was very inspiring. So A Kid from Coney Island, you can find it on Netflix now. And I really...
Do you think Donald Trump will reach out to Stephon Marbury to help repair relations with China, like he does Dennis Rodman in North Korea?
Dennis Rodman. Maybe. We'll see. But anyways, Quinn, what is your second and final recommendation?
My second and final recommendation was one of my favorite horror movies of the last 10 years, and it's actually a remake. And remakes of horror films are generally not good. I'm talking about You, Child's Play remake of last year starring Audrey Plaza.
Yeah.
But this remake I actually found to be really good because it stuck to the simple formula that the first one did with just a little less humor. And that is the...
Jeepers Creepers.
No. That is the... I don't know what year this came out, to be honest with you. I'm holding the disc in my hand. But it is Fede Alvarez's Evil Dead remake starring Jane Levy. And I will get you the date here. But it's an awesome film. 2013. It's an awesome movie that that plays on a lot of the strengths of the first one. Cabin fever, teen angst, classic horror movie tropes. And it sells at them, I think a lot of times films and cinema, they tend to try to reinvent the wheel. What this movie does, this remake does, is that it it sticks to the script, sticks to what got you to the dance, and it does it well. Sometimes the basics, the fundamentals are the prettiest thing you can do. And this movie, Evil Dead 2013 remake by Fede Alvarez starring Jane Levy, I think does this. It's tremendously scary. The special effects, the makeup, the costuming is all great. And Jane Levy's performance in it is amazing. I thought it was one of the better performances of 2013. I think acting in a horror film is immensely difficult. Portraying those extreme emotions, pretending that death is on your doorstep. So, Evil Dead, Fede Alvarez 2013 remake starring Jane Levy. I highly recommend it.
I haven't watched a horror movie in a long time, so I'll have to give that a look because I've been kind of jonesing to watch a horror movie again. I admittedly have a bias against horror movies because I just always found them to be just really cheesy, and I am admittedly a snob when it comes to movies. But recently, I've been feeling like delving into waters that I haven't necessarily delved into before.
What is your favorite? Do you have a favorite horror movie?
That's a good question.
Or what sort of horror disturbs you?
Disturbs
or
me?
What sort of horror gets to you the
most?
Most?
The horrors of life disturb me.
Well, let me ask you this: Did you find Zodiac by David Fincher, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Mark Ruffalo, terrifying?
Not terrifying, but that's my type of psychological thrillers.
Psychologically,
I can definitely get behind. But when it's like scary monster run away, I tend to laugh. I have pissed off many friends who take those types of movies very seriously and get really scared. And I just see right through it and I just start laughing.
Like a Midsommar that we saw in theaters when it came out.
Yes, Midsommar.
I remember your reaction watching it live. You were very perturbed by it.
Dude, the Midsommar, Hereditary, those types of movies where it's just like those movies that just stick with you for weeks and you just can't stop thinking about it. Actually, we watched Midsommar, remember? It was actually a year ago today, actually.
Really? Is today Midsommar?
Yeah. No, today's not Midsommar.
I know Midsommar was recently, wasn't it?
Midsommar is the solstice.
Was that
the
not
summer
recently?
Solstice, which is June 21st.
Okay,
so
yeah,
it was
it
recent,
was recent,
but it's not today. But yeah, we actually watched it a year ago today, and I just remember, like, telling you, like, days afterwards, like, dude, I still have that movie on my mind. Like, I cannot. It just, I can't stop thinking about how fucked up that movie is. And
well, Evil Dead is not a psychologically horrifying movie, and it's more of a blood and guts sort of.
It's like Saw, kind of.
Not necessarily like Saw. It's a bit more. It falls a bit more in the cult classic B movie sort of fare, but it's well executed, technically very well done, and you could tell that everyone on board committed 110%. So if you go into it not too critical, just looking to have a good time for pure escapism, I think this is the movie for you.
Cool. Nice.
That's cool. Yeah, psychological. I'm trying to think of some other psychological horror movies.
I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and give you my last recommendation. And that is something that I very rarely talk about my musical endeavors on this podcast because I want to keep those two things kind of separate to a degree. I don't really want to constantly be plugging my musical endeavors on this because I would feel like it'd become too much about me. And I do want the guests to be highlighted. I do want current events to be highlighted. I want to just be, I want to be the middleman. I don't want to keep putting my face out there in terms of cross-promoting into the podcast. But I feel like it's necessary for me to do in this one instance because, well, I'm doing a live stream on Saturday, the 18th, on Twitch under my alias Downer, which is my artist name, and I'm going to be playing covers. I recently covered Coldplay's song Yellow, their classic song off of their Hall of Fame worthy album, Parachutes. That was just turned actually 20 years old a couple days ago, which is why I covered it. And, I felt like I want to have some fun, play some music, talk to some people, give some people some more content. So I felt like doing a covers live stream would be perfect. So if you want to check that out on Saturday, it's on Twitch at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Follow my Instagram account, my music Instagram account at DownerCA, and click the link in that bio, and you'll be able to find the Twitch link from there. So it's going to be at 6 p.m. And if you have any requests, either DM DownerCA or post a reply to my announcement for the live stream on that Downer IG account. So I hope you guys tune in because it'll be really fun. I have some surprises in store already, so I hope you guys come through for that.
Do people have to put in their request beforehand, or can they do it during the stream?
Beforehand, preferably, because I need time to practice those songs. I don't want to just pull up songs and like learn it on the fly because it won't be as entertaining watching me spend 15 minutes trying to play.
Someone just calls in, I want Alan Jackson's Chattahoochee and I want it now.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, what the fuck is, and then I have to like listen to the first song. Like I want songs that I already know, beforehand. It'll just make the whole process smoother. I'm not going to be able to play every request. I've already gotten some requests that I'm like, there's no way for me to do that. So,
and this will be exclusively on Twitch, you said?
It will be exclusively on Twitch, but the replay I will post on YouTube and on Facebook. So even if you miss it, you'll be able to watch it, the rewind of it. But if you want to watch it live, that's always fun because I'll interact with you. You type in the chat, I see it, I say, hey, you, it's nice to see you, and I talk to you. You can give me feedback, and we'll have a conversation.
You said people can expect some surprises. Is there any sort of hint or morsel that you can give people to entice them without giving too much away? Yeah.
So one surprise is just it's not even a surprise. This is something that is pretty cool. So as you all know, well, some of you know, when I perform live, I have effects with me. I do use a lot of effects. I process my voice a little bit and stuff. I figured out ways to do that through my setup here. So that's why I'm doing it on Twitch and not Instagram or Facebook, because they kind of limit what you can do in that area. But Twitch, it's a free-for-all. So I can use my setup that I use for performances, basically plug it in here into my, my interface, and you guys can hear my electric guitar with all the effects and everything, and you'll be able to hear the reverb and everything, all the effects I use. And I'm trying to figure out how to do it with my voice too. So it'll be like you're watching a performance, like a true Downer performance, not just me on the acoustic guitar playing into a microphone. Like it's a step above. So
have you tried singing into a fan?
When I was a kid, I have, but maybe I'll have to bring out the fan.
Dude, you know how Jimmy Fallon does classroom instruments? You should do bedroom tools, brother. Pull out the house fan and just just get into it.
We'll see. I am looking into investing into a looper. So once I invest into a looper, oh dude, I'll be able to do so much more for future live streams. But for now, I have to stick with what I have, and currently I don't have a looper or any hardware for vocal effects. So I'm gonna have to use plugins for the vocal effects. So it's gonna require some technical, workarounds and stuff. I'm gonna have to fuck around with shit. But I'm very excited for the live stream. Hope you are too. Yeah. Like I said, at DownerCA is where you can get more information on that live stream. It'd be really great to have you. So please tune in. It'd be really fun.
Right.
So.
And then they can probably expect your John Wayne Gacy tribute show shortly after that, right?
Oh yeah, of course, right? Yeah. Because I'm a huge John Wayne Gacy fan.
You'll be playing that at some kid's party coming up soon, right?
No, that's not happening. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, Quinn.
The Dahmer cut. We want it. We want the Dahmer cut.
No.
But no, on a serious note, everybody look forward Downer's Twitch stream on Saturday. It should be a good time. Good music.
Yeah, it'll be really fun. I hope you guys tune in. It'd be really awesome to have you in the chat. And then, like I said, if you have any requests, please DM at DownerCA or post a reply in the announcement post on the Downer account.
E40. Yeah. We want E40.
All I'm gonna say is you're gonna have to listen to the stream, because
there may be a surprise. There may be a little queef feature coming in at the very end to close it out. You never know. You never know. But you gotta tune in. That's the thing. You gotta tune in.
You gotta tune in. You gotta tune in to see. There might be some friends coming through to the stream. Might help me out a little bit. We'll see what happens, but it'll be fun either way. You
need to come up with some sort of intro for your streams, like Mr. Rogers' Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Marco Alvarado's It's a Terrible Day. It's a terrible day in my suburb. A terrible day in my suburb.
I think you need to sing that, and then I just lip sing it.
I would actually. That'd be a dream of mine to have my own Mr. Rogers show.
I'm putting.
Where it was just the opposite, just the polar opposite. Instead of telling kids, don't do drugs, don't do crime, I'd be telling people unemployment will pay you more than your full-time job.
Dude, I would want for you to do something like that, but like, just, I don't know, just totally, like you said, the totally opposite, and have like the neighborhood. You know how you like how like Mr. Rogers walks outside.
Man, I hate my neighborhood. Man,
it's the postman. And it's just like, oh, it's my dealer. Hello. This is what we call an eighth.
Eddie Murphy did something very similar to this on Saturday Night Live in the 80s. He had a real famous sketch where it was like Mr. Rogers in the hood. But maybe if we did something where it's just this curmudgeon old white guy that hated everyone in his neighborhood. Maybe he hates the neighborhood because all these ethnic minorities are moving in.
That'd be funny.
Mr. Eastwood hates the neighborhood, starring Clint Eastwood. But nonetheless, everyone, shenanigans inside, we do encourage you to look for Downer's Twitch stream.
Yeah, it'll be really great to have you in the chat. So I think that that does it for this episode of the Closers Podcast. I hope you guys had a great time, and please follow us on Instagram at the Closers Podcast, on Facebook at Closers Podcast. That's our Facebook page, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's the Cultures Podcast. Please subscribe, like I said. Like our videos, share them, and hit the bell so you're notified for when we post new content.
You have
And
the option
Quinn, do you
to
have anything
get
else to say?
notifications for all our videos or just some of our videos. So,
Yeah, so you can set your preferences according to what you want. Isn't that fun? But without any further ado, we will bid you an adieu. I will be closing out your week in style on Friday for closing out the week. Hope you tune in for that. Love you guys. Take care.